And, you know, the parallel is gambling. It's the exact same thing. Governments ran out of money in the 80s. They needed to fill their coffers. So they worked out a deal to go to legalized gaming. Now it's $11 billion a year industry. It'll be the exact same thing with marijuana.
There is a place in Canada where a high-tech, multi-billion-dollar marijuana industry already thrives. According to legend, this is where American Vietnam draft dodgers first invented the continent's most controversial strain of marijuana.
In BC, marijuana is not seen as a strange thing. Our #1 cash crop in British Columbia is BC bud.
We're at the top of the Dominion building in beautiful downtown Vancouver. Grand Central Station for the marijuana mecca, ground zero for Amsterdam. When people say, "Hi, how are you?" I say, "Hi, how are you?" Welcome to Amsterdam! At one time, homosexuality was against the law, and for that reason, a lot of people hid their inclinations. It took them a certain amount of time to achieve dignity, and then they got to the point where they had clubs and dance clubs and bars of their own, and then those got hassled and raided, and then there was the Stonewall riots, and then all of a sudden since then they've been, you know, 4/5 full humans instead of us who are kind of in the half and half zone still. Right where Hastings and Cambie meet is the center of town. 1994, a little shop called Hemp BC opened up on this side of the street, and through the sale of seeds and these other cannabis-related items, Mark Emery and those at Hemp BC funded pot activism that eventually led to Amsterdam being #2 on everybody's must-see pot vacation spot.
On this block now, you can buy marijuana at least at one outlet, probably two. It's at the BC Marijuana Party headquarters, the Pot TV headquarters.
There's the new Amsterdam Cafe. That's a Bring Your Own Bud Cafe. Above that, that's Smokin' Seeds. That's a seed shop. Blunt Brothers is another Bring Your Own Bud Cafe. And basically, you can't buy pot here or sell pot here. But if you bring your own bud, you can smoke it here. Cops raided year after year, time and time again. We gave them lectures, we sang songs, we blew smoke in their face, until raiding the pot block was the last thing they wanted to do.
But Vancouver will soon take it a step further. This is The Kind, your friendly neighborhood marijuana store. Anyone can walk in here and buy marijuana. There's even a menu and a ventilated smoking room.
They are one of these places that consider all use medicinal, so if you went in there and asked to buy some marijuana, if you didn't have a club membership, they'd say, oh, well, you feel a little stressed, or maybe you have some back pain, or stomach problems, there must be something wrong with you.
A lot of tourists coming up that are very curious. They've read about us on the internet and they want to know if this is really true. And when they walk in, they're just amazed. What people can get is generally about 6 to 12 strains of marijuana. You can get bubble hash, Canaimo bars, and brownie bakers, and people are coming from the United States.
And customers are coming by the thousands. In Vancouver, The Kind is pushing things all the way. For the adventurous type of American celebrity, suddenly Canada is freedom land.
No, spark up, it's cool! Cool, Brad!
Change law, then that's not illegal in here. What do you think of that?
Good idea. I mean, you know, what is the measure of freedom? You do what you want unless you're hurting someone else.
I believe the world needs more Canada.
I feel so good about Canada. I'm afraid to do my act in the States. In the States, man, it's creepy.
Canada experiences a profitable new kind of tourism. American gays and lesbians stream into Canada to get married.
When you think about it, as soon as you pass gay marriage, every gay couple that was thinking for the last 20 years, oh, if only we could get married, are going to do it.
I live in the United States. I am an American, born and bred. I will be trying to get, at least immigration status once we get married. When I was really young, I used to dream about getting married, and then, when I came out to myself and to other people, I kind of figured, okay, that's something that's I have to put behind me because we can't do that. And now that we're able to do that, all the ideas I've had over the years are just kind of all coming together, and it's actually going to be possible now.
It was kind of a an awakening for a lot of people, just telling them that, you know, we're actually getting married. And one of my coworkers actually said, "Oh, I thought you were gay."
What is amazing about the dawn of same-sex marriage in Canada is that there is initially little opposition. The only significant protest is by a small group of Chinese Christian Canadians. Even same-sex marriage opponents are classically Canadian, mild-mannered and polite.
That word, I think, needs to be maintained to describe this age-old union of two people of the opposite sex, not to put anybody else down.
We have this new law in government that says same-sex marriage is a legal right constitutionally. And we have these churches that are opposed to that. All of a sudden, you're at odds with the state. You're very vulnerable.
We have to establish, historically, that there was resistance to this nonsense.
Resistance, it appears, was futile. As the world takes notice, France's L'Express calls Canada the country that most intrigues the French, and the world's most influential business magazine, Forbes, calls Canada's pot industry unstoppable. Even the Pope himself is upset.
I've pissed off the Pope personally. The finest moment of my legal career. My Catholic parents don't like that part, joke.
Canada, meanwhile, and specifically Toronto, are in the middle of a SARS epidemic. Tourism was at an all-time low, and gay marriage and marijuana couldn't have come at a better time.
I think that's our franchise. People can actually get married here. They can't get married in San Francisco. They can't get married anywhere in the States. They can engage in some kind of civil union or some sort of, crummy halfway thing.
The wedding business is huge business all around, so if Canada has an exclusivity in the North American market at this point in time for gay marriage, obviously there's going to be an advantage there.
In Ontario, an event crystallizes Canada's summer of legalization. SARS-Stock, a huge Rolling Stones and AC/DC benefit concert, broadcast Canada's new peace-loving, pot-smoking, and gay-marrying image to the world.
A lot of Americans are coming up to Canada to use this, to come even to this place and come check it out, because they don't have the freedoms that we have.
This is something we cannot do back home at all. If you want to smoke pot outside, you have to do it in the alley somewhere. You cannot do it in a comfortable, friendly surrounding like this.
I come from a place where you need to hide if you're going to smoke weed. You need to hide, and you need to hide well. I come to Toronto and you can walk down the street and smoke a joint, and I was amazed.
Even Pierre Burton, often considered Canada's national writer, as his last major TV appearance before his death, comes out as a marijuana smoker.
What's the best way to roll a joint? Well, let me tell you, it's not that way. Put that down and we'll start over. First of all, you need a good rolling surface. May I suggest either the National Green or my latest book, Prisoners of the North. I prefer the classic cone-shaped joint, what the young people call a coner. Excellent. Just the way I like it.
The marijuana furor was changing Canada's straight-laced image. The new Canada is edgy, and maybe even sexy.
Well, I've been on the cover of High Times twice, and I've been their centerfold with a 6-page photo essay, and I was their calendar girl. I've also been the cover girl for Cannabis Culture. My mom was a baker, and her mother was a baker, and her mother before her. And so I just baked these pot cookies one day, and I took them down to Wreck Beach. They were so popular that I just kept doing it. So I guess I sold to undercover officers, they said, and then there was just an arresting officer came down one day. I was naked when he arrested me, and so this crowd starts to ensue until, about 300 people have stood up, have surrounded this cop, screaming, and kids are crying. So there was a riot, and then I was arrested and charged with allegedly trafficking ginger snap cookies, and they took me to the cop shop, and then they strip search you. My cookies really epitomized the absurdity of what was going on, like after you're in court for a little while, and they're parading 2 ginger snap cookies in a bag marked Exhibit A, They've got 5 cops. They've spent millions of dollars in your tax dollars really trying to stick it to this girl who's baked a couple of cookies, has no victims, caused no pain, nobody complained about her, and it really brought the issue down where people could really stare at it. I mean, Canada really want to make me a criminal?